It's a great day in SimWorld, everybody. Good morning and welcome to SimWorld Today. I'm B-Ron. Alongside me is my co-host Yells. Good morning, man. How you doing? Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday, my guy.
And I am thirsty. I am thirsty. There it is on camera. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, look, stay hydrated, man. As CJ like to say,
I'm
stay
drinking water.
hydrated.
That is
Drink some water.
water.
Yes, sir.
It's
Yes,
got a little
sir.
something else in it, though.
Yes, sir. Get you some water, my guy. Good way to start the day, man.
Yeah.
You know who's not feeling so good today, though, to start? Cascadia. Because the streak is over. All good things must come to an end, and Cascadia's 7-game win streak came to an end last night against the Beast of the East. There's Tyree Moore behind a back move. Beautiful. Get himself going there. That was they went on a tear to start the game, and really never looked back. But it wasn't down for a little bit as a pass there for a little bit more inside to Q Dozier. Got them some points there.
This young man looked pretty good in this game, despite the loss.
Yes.
Somerville,
Yes,
Livermore.
Somerville, yes.
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah, both of them look good too. And
How about
here,
this guy, though?
yeah, here in the fourth quarter, Kasim Porter Jr. starting to
What?
get
What?
going, and he put the game away there. He had a career high night as Kasim Porter Jr. and the Beasts of the East knock off Cascadia from the ranks of the undefeated, winning that game by a good margin, 61-54.
Yeah, they totally got the job done, B Run.
Yeah,
If there was any team that was going to get it done, we said it would be Beast of the East. There were a few more we moved down the schedule on that but hey, the champs came to play. Coach Drayton and the crew, they had a solid game plan out there. It looked like they said, hey, Tyree Wells we're going to force him to struggle. We're gonna make it hard for him inside, and they did.
yep,
On the other end of that, Jason Holbrook was held off the
yep,
glass.
absolutely,
He was
absolutely.
not on the
And
offensive
you know
glass.
what?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, and the thing that made it even more impressive to me was, earlier in the day we heard Coach Drayton talk on the Blazing Takes, and he called his shot in a way, called his shot, and said that Coach Dre Pope was overrated and
Yeah,
all that
my
stuff,
God.
and,
Yikes.
and the thing about that surprises me is Coach Drayton, he in my opinion, he's he's a very I'm not gonna say he's a loudmouth because I don't think I think he can be, but it's different because he'll say one thing and then react another way. Because we've had discussions about how we don't talk about Beasts of the East that much, that kind of thing, and then when we do, he tries to downplay it like it's not a thing, and then he does something and then he gets loud about it. So it's a little bit of a surprise to me. So it's a thing of like, pick a lane. Which one do you want? You know, do you want us to talk about you, and do you want all the recognition that comes with that, or do you want us to downplay you? Because when we, like I said, when we hype you up, you're not. Yeah, it's fine. But when we don't, why are you not talking about the team? What's going on? So which is it? Make up your mind. What do you want?
Yeah, I say for me again. So as far as the outcome of the game itself, B. Ron, BCE's got it done. And
Yeah,
like
we
I
did.
said, there was I'm sure Coach Drayton, he knows what's going on out there. And man, if no one's talking about you, you out there getting wins, who cares? We're not gonna play. We're not gonna play that game. You're last season's champion. You
Yeah, right.
raced to win
Exactly.
champion last season. You're 6-3
Exactly.
right now. You just knocked off the unbeatable so far this season. But here what it is. Back to the logistics of the game. This is a top offensive rebounding team that Cascadia is. Coach, I'm sure he went out there and he told his team they got to be on the glass, and they went out and they executed. They worked there.
Absolutely.
It's early in the morning. I'll get one of these curse words in. They worked their ass off on the glass.
No, wait. Yeah, that's fine.
Only because it rhymes.
Yeah.
They held Jason Holbrook to only one offensive rebound.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, they held Cascadia to only one offensive rebound, and that was the key to victory. In my opinion,
Yep.
they only had one second chance shot attempt in the game. Other than that, they held them to single possessions, and they were able. BOE was they weren't offensively rolling. They weren't killing out there. They shot 2 of 9 from deep. They struggled. They shot 46% from the field,
Yep.
which isn't bad. They got some timely buckets to fall. KPJ hit some big time mid range shots.
Yeah.
Excuse
Really
me, he
did,
hit some
man.
shots from the perimeter. But the key to this one, which I think will be the blueprint that other people will see, was keeping Cascadia off the glass. Tyree Wells struggled big time, only 6 points, 3 of 13. That interior of Levin Cutler,
Mm-hmm.
I bet you got him back in the starting lineup, didn't you, Coach Drayton? Him and No Kearney made life hell for the Cascadia front court, who had been
They
wreaking
did.
havoc this whole entire season up until this point. So hats off. Hats off. Great win to
100%.
BC's. Cascadia is going to go back to the lab, though, I'm sure, especially after being called overrated as a coach, Coach Pope,
Yeah.
and then taking the L to the coach that's called you overrated. I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to
That's
seeing
crazy.
how you bounce back. I am, for
Oh,
sure.
absolutely, absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing how he bounces back too, because that team, man, they're so good. They're so good, and both of these teams really. Beast of the East, last season's champions. Expected to be good coming into the season. They are, you know, and I think that if this game were to happen again, say in the Race One Championship, perhaps, I think it'll be a different. I think it'll be a different kind of game. Will it be the same result? That I don't know, but I think it will be a different kind of game in terms of what we see on the court, and they learn from each other from
Yeah,
last time.
I think it'll be more competitive out the gate. Before we move on, eight
Yeah,
points only out of Cascadia in the first quarter. So that Beast of the East defense showed up in a major way in that first quarter, holding them to just
sure.
8 points, and this is one of the highest scoring teams as well. Primarily because of those second chance shot attempts that they get on the glass. So they got them in a hole early, and I would say Cascadia really wasn't playing their game for the rest of the game because they were kind of on their heels how they came out early. So I do look forward to them possibly matching up again in the race to one. Great game, great game for us the fans, though. I'll say that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, for sure, for sure. Well, look, let's keep moving, man. We're running right into another one here. Indy Stripes are rolling, man, and they had a game yesterday against Storm of the East, and it continued to roll. As there is a man, that's a great shot there from Andrew Gibson from deep, and then Hussein Al Noir, man, that kid got rolling there, and Robaskis in the corner three ball, you see it there, and then of course you got to get some Dylan Harper in here, right? JJ Hoops, Dylan Harper combo in there. Those kids got rolling too, and Dylan Harper and these Stripes got their fourth win in a row over SimWorld Middle East by 10, 63-53. And they are six. They are what, 6-2 now?
6-2, yeah,
Six, yeah,
6-2.
6-2 in second place in Southern Region. Um, I don't want to speak for you, but this is more of a general question. Are we overlooking Indy? Because we're not. I feel like some people, say, we're not getting talked about as much as other teams. Gulf Coast, Cascadia, for obvious reasons. OGs. There's a lot of teams in that upper echelon, and Indy's one of them right now. And man, I'm surprised. Honestly, I am. I wasn't. I personally, I don't want to say I was overlooking them, but I didn't expect this kind of start to the season for them.
Yeah, I'm not going to go. I think this is one of those teams that you don't talk about until the race to one starts. Like that's just kind of how it goes. Kind of like some of the Pacers and Trailblazers teams back in the SWBA when the playoffs would start.
Yeah.
They would finish the season somewhere between 55 and 60 wins, and no one really talk about them until race to one starts. And you're like, oh, they might be a little dangerous. Just because they don't do anything, they're not on the highlight reels constantly. They don't have players jumping off the board doing, oh my God, look at that step back.
Right.
It's,
Right.
it's none of that. It's just quality wins. So I think they fall a little bit into that echelon. I think they fall victim to a couple of things though, B-Ron. Number
Hmm.
one, they've had so much drama surrounding them constantly. We're just happy to not hear about them for a second. I think some people. So it's hard
Yeah,
to
yeah.
it's hard to talk about the wins. It's like okay, we expect drama between from the coach to the player to the own. Like what is going on? So the fact that we're not hearing about them might be best for them at the moment. And then
Hmm.
the other
Hmm.
part of it is I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Some other people have said it about other teams' schedules. Their schedule has not been. They beat Middle East to pick up their fourth straight win. It's Middle East. I'm not flying off the handle about a win over Middle East. I'm sorry.
Right.
Middle East is a so look, and I'll stand on the other side of that. This is the most competitive prep league in the world, in the entire world. So Middle East is no slouch. But these are the best of the best, and Middle East is one of the worst of the best. So getting a win over them, I'm not holding that in a high echelon. I'm not holding that up to a high standard. And just oh my goodness. So
Yeah.
that's their fourth win. I don't recall who they beat over before this one. I think was it Bad Boys maybe. I'd have to go back and look.
So they have so on this on the in their 6 wins so far this season, only one of their six has come against a team over 500,
See,
Lone Star,
see.
and then their second win was against a team was that's now 500 in the ATL and it's a 4-4.
So I'm saying,
They
and
do go ahead, go ahead.
those two teams are still figuring it out. Very quality teams, to be honest, but they're still
Yeah.
figuring it out. They haven't hit their stride. Middle East, nope. That's three. Who else you got?
So let's go back to their losses really quick, just because I have some notes on those here. Their two losses that they have, they were by 7 to Southeast Select, who's 4-4 now,
That's Southeast
and
Select.
five to Gulf Coast, who's 6-1.
Right. So against the winning teams, they did what we probably anticipated that they would do. So their record. Sometimes you're a victim, not a victim. You're a hero of the record. You get to win by your schedule. So 6-2. We'll see what happens when they start playing the tougher games here. And their
Yeah,
two losses kind of
for
speak to
sure,
that. So I'm
for
not
sure.
overlooking anything. I'm just glad that there's no drama coming out of Indy.
Exactly, exactly. And one more thing to know here before we move on: Dylan Harper, fourth in the league in scoring and 10th in 3-pointers made. JJ Hoops is seventh in 3-point percentage, and they had the number 3 offense in the league so far. Now
JJ
again,
Hoops.
you could say product of the schedule, sure, um, but I think this offense is really dangerous regardless of who they're playing.
Oh no, no doubt.
So
I don't want to take anything away from them. I think they're a good offensive team. Shout out
yeah,
to Leah Larick too.
yeah, absolutely.
Andrew Gibson. They have some
Hmm.
players to get it
They
done.
do.
They have a couple of players that no one's going to appreciate. Everyone always loves the names and the highlights. I'm gonna keep beating that down over and over. We're talking about substance, man. We're talking about substance. Late
Yeah.
Money. His stats are not going to jump off the page, but he does all of the dirty work. And I mean all of it. And when you need a demoralizing dunk, an athletic rebound, somebody get out on the break, this kid's probably averaging 4 points a game. But
Hmm.
I guarantee you, I notice when Jarrell Thrash is on the court for Indy
Yeah.
Stripes. And so are the scouts as well. Like, he gets it done. But yeah, Leah Larick, he's kind of got that JJ Barea vibe to him. When everything's
Hmm.
falling apart, when Dylan Harper's not on the court for whatever reason, he may not be on the court, which is crazy. When JJ Hoops may not be having his shot falling or there's a struggle, you know who steps
Hmm.
in, gets right to the rack, and finishes amongst the trees? Leah Larick. So I do like this team. I just don't think that they're in the upper echelon as of right now, despite their record.
All right. Well, we'll see. I'm sure they'll use that for some bulletin board material. Y'all can use that, I'm sure. But look, from one streak to another one, because the reigning Trays just, keep on rolling, man. Got their fourth win in a row last night.
Mm-hmm.
It
Jafet
was
Towns got his
Fed
fourth win in
Towns.
a row.
Yeah.
Woo!
And we're gonna talk about him more in a minute here. Here's Ronnie Shanahan using his handles and getting to the basket with a layup there with off Lattimore being in the vicinity as well. Speaking of Lattimore, here he is,
Oh,
the big man himself, Big Daddy Lat. I can't believe I just said that, but look, here we go, man. Here we go. You got me. I'm just saying, but look,
it's his
Fed
name.
Towns, Fed Towns, quick. His jumper is so quick, man, and he for him. believe it or not, this was one of the more inefficient games for him. 47% from the field. But, you know, that don't
Uh,
matter. That don't matter because, they got their fourth win in a row over Lone Star, and they're starting to put it together. Or are they? Is it just something else? We talked about Indy's schedule a minute ago.
stop it. We're not even gonna go down that road. What else? Is it something else? Yes, Jafet Towns doing what he hadn't done like the first few games of the season. Looks like he
Yeah.
tried to defer a little bit and say, "Hey, let's see what my teammates got." And he said, "All right, enough of all of that. I know
So
you
it is
guys are
something else.
talented." What?
So
What
it
is
is
it?
something else.
He's
No,
doing what he
no.
did
The,
last
the, so-
season. He's
something else is Jafet Towns. What I'm saying,
yeah,
like as a team, are they putting it together, or is it something else? Meaning Jafet Towns. Like that's what it is.
yeah, I mean, hey, they're a great team. Like I said, I think they have talented kids on there, but sometimes you just have a guy that's a superb, he's a supreme talent. Here's what I will say. Arthur Lattimore, 23.7 points. Somebody else got to step up on that Lone Star basketball squad. I want to see
Yeah.
more. I want to see more Mardon. I want to see more Nene Gibson. I'm saying it. I'm
I
saying
want to
it.
see more of Nini too. Trust, that's
Come
my
on,
guy.
man.
That's my
Come
guy. You know
on.
it. You
Come
know it,
on.
man.
But on the rain and trade side, B Run, I definitely want to know your thoughts on what I'm getting ready to say.
Go ahead.
Here's what I noticed. The season started, and I think Big Bob and a couple other outlets out there had something to say about Kevon Jackson and how Jafet Towns would fare without him, right?
I
Jafet Towns,
remember.
yeah, Jafet Towns. I've spent some time with him. I don't know if you have. He's a low key guy, man.
He
He
is.
kind of
Yeah.
has that. He kind of has that Kawhi Leonard, early Kawhi Leonard vibes before people
Right.
start disliking him. He's mild mannered. He doesn't speak out too much. He's just real low key, and that's what he was all season. I'm sure he heard
Yep.
the media, but the season started and he passed the ball. He was averaging around 5 assists a game for the first 2, 3 games of the season. He wanted to get, I think he wanted to see Brandon Crawford get off. He wanted to see Ethan Alexander, Jimmy King, some of these guys, see what they were capable of.
Right.
And
Yes, they do. Yeah.
meanwhile, Kevon Jackson was over there in Cascadia going bonkers for the first 2, 3 games, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, Kevon Jackson is the great." I told you, Jafet Towns needed him, right? And right around that time, I don't know if it's coincidence, right around that time, around game 4, 3 or 4 of the season, 4 or 5, Jafet Towns start turning it up. And then obviously last week he started dialing it up major. So yeah, he didn't
Yeah.
get all in the media. I haven't heard him in the locker room. I haven't heard anything from players. But on the court, I think he said, this is just me assuming, I think he said, "I've heard enough. I'm Jafet Towns. Here's what my
Right.
game is. No, I'm not missing Kevon Jackson. Let me show you what I really have, and I'm gonna do it with my game on the court." I think he
Yeah.
heard the haters, is what I'm saying.
So look, from the beginning, that was blasphemy. I made that very clear. That was such a blasphemous statement to make. But
Yeah,
look, you can make those statements. That's fine because it gets a reaction. That's what you want. It's cool. Take that. But you know, that was outlandish. You can't say that. Jafet Towns is a phenomenal athlete, phenomenal ball player. We already knew this going into the season. So, I'm not surprised to see him playing as well as he is right now, and really, making himself known to those people who were the haters, saying, "Hey, I got this. And I'm gonna show you I got this."
yeah.
So no,
I mean, I think he had enough. That's all there is to it. I think he
yeah,
said, "Let me show y'all." 26 points, 4 assists. Different people stepping up. I don't want to discredit Jason Crosser has started to emerge here. He started to look a little bit more like the player that we thought he might be. And I talked about it yesterday and talked about it
yeah,
quite a few different outlets where big men take a time to develop. We may not see what Jason Crosser actually is until and if he gets to the pros. Until a
right,
couple seasons in, he's 7'2" and he can shoot the ball. Man, you can't teach that.
yeah. It's a wild
You
combination.
can't teach that. Right? He's a shooter. Ethan Alexander is a knockdown shooter, a defender. Brandon Trays has tools, but it looks like they're just starting to figure out, hey, let's let Jafet Towns go do his thing and we'll support him in spots where I think earlier in the season, Coach Amber may have had these guys trying to say, hey, let's see what everybody's capable of and see if we can have more of a team approach. But I am here to tell you, when you have Jafet Towns on your team, he is the team. He's the team approach. You let the game flow through him.
give that young man the ball. Let him go to work. Well, look, speaking of going to work, Nick Saban. Let's switch gears here for a minute. Switch gears here for a minute. Alabama fans are crying somewhere. Let's take it to some SimWorld U
We know
realm, but on the
Siege.
football side.
We know Siege is somewhere crying. Oh,
Yep.
Siege, get your
Yeah.
tissues. Wipe those
Yeah.
tears up, man.
Nick Saban has decided to call it a career in college football as a head coach. Led Alabama to multiple championships. What was it? I think they had 7 or something in his run, something crazy like that. An absolutely insane run. But now that he's stepping aside, how this going to affect both Alabama and college football at large? Because Bama was on top for so long. And sure, over the past few years, we've seen different teams win the title. Michigan most recently. But all that being said, how do you think this is going to affect Bama and college football at large?
There'll be less cheating. I'm just kidding. I'm
Let's
just
see.
kidding. There'll be less. Don't want to get caught. Okay. Anyhow, look. Number one, so that everybody can go ahead and discredit everything that I'm getting ready to say. I'm gonna go ahead and say it now, so that you guys can check out and say, okay, I don't want to listen to what Yells has to say about this. To me, when I think of Nick Saban, I think of LSU. That may be
Okay.
odd for people. I think of LSU. I don't think of his
That's
Alabama years.
crazy.
That's where he.
Like,
That's
like, like I understand that, but
that's where he grew to fame
yeah,
and rise
yeah,
for me. So I still think of him there. As far as Alabama, they're gonna struggle. I
hmm
think they'll find a high profile coach to come in, but Nick Saban knew how to do what he was doing. The recruiting part aspect of Nick Saban is the part that I think they're going to lose. Everybody wants to play
yeah,
for a Saban, one reason or another. College football, though, next man up. Somebody's going to want to step into that realm, right?
yep,
Football is a
exactly.
competitive sport on the field, on the sideline. Somebody wants to be that next Nick Saban. There's always
Yep.
somebody. There's a John Gruden, then a Pete Carroll, then a Nick Saban. There's always someone. And then on our side of it, there's someone we're going to herald, and we're going to vaunt them up and put them on that pedestal, and see if they can live up to it anyway. So on the media side, someone's going to put somebody right in that place as soon as possible, and either they'll live up to it or they won't. So I think
Right.
things
Exactly.
keep moving, man. Things keep moving.
Yeah, no, and that's the beauty of college sports, especially, is like you said, it's always a next man up situation, and because players are rotating in every year, you're getting new players every single year. It's a lot different from the NFL. You have guys on contract, they stick around for a while. You might have a guy who's there for 4 years, but he's leaving at some point, and it'll be in a very quick fashion. So quick turnaround time in college sports, especially. But it's so rare to see a coach stay for a long time like that, and then when they finally leave, you have to make some sort of drastic change. And I think what's going to change for Bama specifically is just the kind of players that want to come to the school,
Right.
or the type of players that come there, because that coach is going to want something different
Right.
to what Nick Saban did. But players are still going to want to come and play for Alabama, because it's still Alabama at the end of the day. You're still going to want to go play for your Bamas, your Floridas, your Miamis, your LSU's, because they had that history, that mystique, that aura around them. Regardless. So I think that's what's going to change for that. As far as college football goes, I think that we might see things get a little bit more competitive overall in terms of your top tier schools. You're going to see different schools going for the championship more than just your Alabamas, because there's just so much more talent around, especially in the SEC. So I think it'll be more competitive overall. So yeah, just
What
my
what
quick
what
thoughts
else
there.
does that matter for Alabama? What you said about the types of players? I'll tell you this
Yes.
much right now: the population in Alabama is going to go down. That's going to go down. That's number one, and number two, whatever kind of players Nick Saban was bringing in, they bought all the pretty girls with them. So the pretty girl population is going to decline in Alabama with Nick Saban gone. It's not a direct result of Nick Saban. I don't want to make any weird accusations there. But the players that he brought in, yeah, Alabama's 7-10 ratio had went up over the last few years. I think it falls back.
Well, what's not going to fall back? The show. But we have to fall back for today because the show's ending. We got to get out of here. Thank y'all for joining us today here on SimWorld today. Remember, as always, hit that like button on the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notify bell so you get notified whenever our things on SimWorld TV go live, our various shows, the live streams for games, all that good stuff. And remember, you guys, SimWorld is the only place where you can see the game, be the game. We'll see you tomorrow.